many years? I think it's a good question to ask. Why are you doing that? And not only why, but why do you continue to do that? So I've chosen for myself, after some thinking, 5 reasons of why I continue to live in Japan. And by extension, I hope that perhaps you who are living abroad in Japan or elsewhere, it doesn't matter, could take something from this, perhaps a reason why you hadn't considered yet you are still remaining where you are, or that if you don't have a single reason at all, maybe you should leave. That's one of the things we have to examine, right? Are we just passively continuing whatever it is that we're doing with no real passion for it? And if so, likely we should adjust. Then, and not in any particular order, I wrote them down. Not going to do it pure rote memory here. I'll start, no particular order. I think a big one for me, and actually this makes a lot of sense to start at, is opportunity. I came here for opportunity. I make no bones about it that when I first came to Japan, it was because there were opportunities here that I did not have at home. The well was dry, and I didn't see a lot of options in my future. Now it started in that way, but it's a big question. Can I continue to say that after this period of time? And the answer is definitively yes. And it's cool because I came for one opportunity, and like will happen, I believe, if you live aligned with your passions and positively, new opportunities will arise. And that's kind of the point that I've reached now, without spending the next 40 minutes of this video to discuss what exactly those opportunities are. I came for opportunity, and they do still remain, and they are opportunities I could only have because I'm here, which I find incredibly fulfilling, because I think more than anything else, opportunity is what drives us. It's that thing that we wake up for. It's that thing that we go to sleep feeling good about ourselves for. So opportunity was a really big one, and I think if you're considering your opportunities and what it is that you're happy with, always consider that it doesn't have to be the first thing that you were interested in. You could come and completely abandon that. I think a thought I've had recently is about iterative behaviors. Everything that we do creatively is iterative. Everything that we do technologically is iterative, usually. Some things just don't get better. But we're constantly changing and adapting and refining, and our opportunities are no different from that. Next, let's talk about challenge. So challenge is something I think, well, of course, everybody would say, oh, you live in Japan, of course that's going to be challenging. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Maybe this is more or less known, but when you come to Japan, it's very easy to create a kind of bubble for yourself as a foreigner. And it means that you can go into a job where you never have to speak a word of Japanese. You never have to learn Japanese, and you never have to interact with Japanese people, which is kind of bizarre considering you are in a country called Japan. And so I live for the challenges that I can have here, and I'm especially proud of that, I suppose, because it's challenges that you make a choice to have. Just by coming to Japan, it's not just by osmosis, no challenge where you were and now suddenly there's tons of challenge and you will experience that. No, you actually need to make a point of challenging yourself once you're here, and I continue to do that, and there's a number of different ways to do so, none more so than the language. I think the Japanese language is one of the most beautiful things on earth. I love constantly challenging myself. I love, it's bizarre to have arrived at this point, but being repeatedly beaten by it and not giving up. It's kind of, I feel like it's a transcendent moment in a movie when, if we could personify this, it would be like me getting the shit beat out of me by Japanese, the language, and it's screaming at me, why won't you stay down? You've seen that, and you're so stoked for the hero that gets back up. I could do this all day kind of thing. So challenge is a really, really big one, but it's usually me getting the shit kicked out of myself. But I love that I haven't given up yet. I like adventure. You could find adventure in your own country, but definitely so when you are abroad, because the adventure that you find here, what I like it's the alienness of it. I think we're on number 3. Yeah, it's how you can have adventure, but because you grow up in surroundings that are familiar to you or become familiar to you wherever you are from, then the adventure may come still. Say, for example, I lived back on Vancouver Island now. I could be climbing all these different mountains, but the mountains have a quality to them. The surroundings have a quality to them that you are familiar with. And here, it is alien. And there's places that I go still every single year. Like in one of my most recent relationships, I went to Akita. And Akita is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. Totally alien, totally foreign to me. And the adventure there was profound and not something I could find back home. And the edge was on it, as I say, because it's not familiar at all. I'd never seen fields of rice like this before. I've seen lots of fields of rice in Japan, but nothing like that before. Pristine, idyllic, untouched. These are all apt words to describe Akita. I went onto this train ride deep into the countryside there, because it's true Inaka, very, very countryside there. And it was incredible. Like the adventure is still real, and that was last summer. So the adventure is incredible. Never goes away. I still get to experience it, and it's still just as alien as when I arrived, for most things, if I go a little bit further. Next, I'd say friends, and friends because they're a little unique in Japan. That, sure, when I'm in Canada, I had a lot of friends from ethnically different places in the world, but the truth is that here in Japan, if you come across friends who are foreigners, of course they're coming from everywhere else. They're expats like you. And as a result of them being an expat and being from all over the world, your circle of friends here ends up being really, really international. And where you thought at first you had come to have your perspective broadened for the fact that you are being exposed to the Japanese culture, truth is you're going to get exposed to so many world cultures, because you're in a place that anybody who is not Japanese is from someplace other than where you are from. And I've really increasingly enjoyed the quality of the international friendships and the additional exposure I then have to more cultures around the world, more values, ways of thinking, enjoyment, ways of having fun. I love that. I really, really do. And it is definitely... it's made this list confidently. Now, the last one, I suppose, is a reason that I had at the beginning, and this hasn't changed. This is something that has stayed with me ever since I arrived. I'm so glad that it's not grown stale, or that I do not feel this way. It's that I feel like I'm doing something special and unique, and I can see people bent over the keyboards now in the comment section, like, you are not unique, and there's so many people who come to Japan. It's true, there are a lot of people who come here, and to be an international and expat living in Japan nowadays is far less rare than it once was. But I don't necessarily think that experience, having more people participate in it, makes it less special. I really enjoy it regardless, and it feels unique. I think inevitably all is unique to you personally, because it's your subjective experience, but that's me cheating a little bit. But it really does feel special. I think whether I liked it or not, I've not settled into one thing here. I know people who've come to Japan and they've lived longer than I have, for like 10 years, and they worked for the same company and lived in the same place, and I think it would be harder in that context for things to feel as special as they do for me, but I won't speak for them. I think I'm aided in my experience by the fact that I've been around a little bit, not even a crazy amount. I mean, I say this as a person who at his last job spent 4 years there, but I have, in a course of, 7 years now, I've lived in 3 places. And who knows exactly what the future will hold. I don't think that it will remain static, as evidenced by all my life prior to this. And I love that. I've always, when I was younger, I was read to. I mentioned this in a number of different videos that I talk about. And there's a real, like, something that makes life meaningful for me, that gives it purpose, gives me a why, is a sense of awe and a sense of magic. And so long as I feel that, then I can keep going through the ups and the downs. And I have that still. And I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope for you considering to come over, perhaps because a lot of people do. They watch my videos and they think, maybe I'd like to do that. I hope this can be encouraging, that you can look at somebody and think, oh, I could be there for an extended period of time. Of course, don't have any experience, don't have anything similar to what I've done so far, make your own thing. But that you can come over here and you can do that. And there's great fulfillment to be found in it, and there's no one right way to do it, and it's still very much an option for you. Not in the next several months, for reasons that I won't say to date this video, but definitely if you're thinking about traveling, if you're thinking about living abroad, I think it's one of the best decisions you could make in your whole life. I know that it has been for myself. So, yeah, that's it. If you would consider giving a like to the video, do it. If you want to subscribe and hit that bell notification to be let known whenever one of the videos goes live on the channel, please do. It really goes a long way to helping me. And if you would consider supporting me on Patreon, that would be amazing, because a small channel like myself, that's how I get by, that's how I continue to grow, and there's a lot there. I won't list it all. If you want to find it out, you can. Links down below in the description. You're great. I appreciate you. I hope to see you in the comments section down below. Let's have a conversation. What's your experience living or not living abroad? The clock has run out. I'll catch you in the next one.